duplicative effort across the watershed. Do you find this as a challenge, having multiple jurisdictions with different priorities? And how do you create and implement a comprehensive ecosystem restoration plan for the entire watershed? Anybody?
I'll jump in, and thank you for the question. You had mentioned the notion that in the Wisconsin way, we get past this notion of the right, the left, the middle. It is recognition that there is a problem. Once that recognition has been realized, it's rolling up your sleeves, and those partnerships become vital. We've learned through a series of ups and downs and wrong paths as to how to go about leveraging the money from local jurisdictions, county jurisdictions, state jurisdictions, as well as federal monies as well. And the emphasis certainly is environment, but I'd be remiss not to tell you that the economic impact of all of this is very important for the folks who live there.
As I mentioned briefly in my testimony, we have put in place a new approach to deal with what can be extremely time-consuming and expensive and often onerous regulatory processes to allow restoration work to go forward. It's not uncommon for the permitting process to take over 3 years, and that drives up costs and hampers our abilities to do restoration. So we have found funding of about $1.2 million a year to actually employ staff from 6 agencies that are committed to working together and actually sitting in the same room a couple of days a week so that permits can be looked at in a more coordinated way and expedite that process. They're also charged with looking at the regulatory landscape and looking for areas that can be updated, because many of our processes and regulations were put in place, of course, long before climate change and need to reflect the new realities.
Yeah, no, perhaps I could respond to that as well. I don't find duplicative efforts and the benefit of our federal link through the US EPA helps us interact with those sister agencies, all of which provide very discernible services to us in Southern California. From the US Geological Survey to national parks, to NOAA, to National Marine Fisheries Service, Army Corps of Engineers, there's talents and charges resident in all of that, and we need those information from them in order to actually enable and inform our plans, and then to actually monitor and evaluate our success from all of them. I would think that for many of these programs also, and we heard it from Will, we heard it from Laura, these folks are working in multiple states. I don't think that anybody wants a different endpoint, but without that federal lens on this, there's very little way a state, I think, or a local government could even try to approach it. So it's intrinsic that we need it.
Thank you very much. To all the witnesses, I have a concern with invasive species. You have mentioned that as part of the problem, and how is your region addressing it? I know there was a big push to eradicate the quagga mussels, and of course the carp, but I was wondering if any of you have found a way to deal with it.
Certainly, Madam Chair. Again, on the heels of the Great Lakes governors and the Canadian premiers, this was item number 1 on the list. The associated problems with the electronic fence to allow and stop the, I'm on, hello?
Yes.
To stop the Asian carp. Again, it was sheer recognition that we all had skin in the game, and state of Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin will all be teeing up dollars and funding to ensure that the Asian carp stays in its place. Again, the sheer recognition that that is a problem, and you have the governors, the leaders of each state recognizing
Working together.
they're working together.
And I would say in Puget Sound, we have discovered an invasion of European green crabs, but we are just at the very beginning of that. So we are working, the state of Washington is working with the local tribes and the local governments to, and citizen volunteers to go out and actually find all the baby crabs and get rid of them before they can breed.
Very fine. Thank you very much to you all, and recognize Mr. Westerman for his questions.